We're back with part 2 of episode 9 of A Hardy Conversation. Once again, I'm Sean.
Chris.
Getting back to this, another brand new writer, Mr. Flores. Hey guys, I'm a long-time viewer, first-time writer, and I have a question for your show. Do you believe that Bobby Lashley will be watered down in TNA like he was in WWE? I don't feel that he was watered down in WWE. He didn't really get too much of a chance to shine due to his departure. But I don't feel that he really was watered down in WWE. But if anything, he'll get free reign, so to speak, in TNA, because TNA allows the wrestlers to do so many things that the WWE bans them from doing. The Vertebreaker, Canadian Destroyer, stuff like that, that if Bobby Lashley has a devastating move like that, he'll be allowed to do it where WWE wouldn't allow him to.
Yeah. You know, he was ECW champion, he was US champion. I mean, I don't think he was really watered down. I mean, he did have big, main event matches with, Umaga versus the whole Trump Vince thing. I mean, he was putting some pretty good main event matches, John Cena, Lashley at SummerSlam. So I don't think he was too watered down in WWE.
Now on to our repeat writers and viewers. Shannon Hardy, aka Jeff's Girl, says, "Hey Chris, this question is for you, cutie. If you had to make a faction with Jeff being the leader, who would you have in his faction, and who would he go up against?"
After thinking about this for a while, I would probably do Jeff, Rey Mysterio, Evan Bourne, Gregory Helms, and Mickie James being the diva in that faction, going up against either Legacy or when Matt comes back doing his faction, having Matt and probably the Hart Dynasty or Carlito or someone like that. I'd probably do that. After thinking about it for a long time.
Your good buddy Punk Sucks wants to know, who do we think would win a faction war? Old School DX or the Main Event Mafia? And hands down, I think it would have to be the Mafia because of experience, championships, and let's face it, when Old School DX was in their prime, none of those guys, except for maybe Triple H, could hold a candle to any of the Mafia.
I would like to see it now, maybe of like Michaels, Trips, X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and Chyna go up against the Main Event Mafia. That would be interesting to see, like Old School DX, with Shawn and Michaels together with Old School DX, X-Pac, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, Chyna, and see what they could do against the Main Event Mafia.
I think it would be a good fight, but I ultimately think that the Mafia would win because I think the downfall for DX would be X-Pac and the Outlaws. Yeah, Triple H and Shawn are like main eventers. They're at the top of their game still. Shawn, having had his back injury, bounced back. He is as good as he was when he left, if not maybe even a little bit better. Triple H has definitely evolved since DX to now. But again, in the Mafia, you've got Joe, who could easily take out any of the DX. Then you got Angle, an Olympic gold medalist. Let's not take anything away from Kurt Angle.
And Triple H and Shawn Michaels will whoop that ass.
And Angle's whooped that ass. So it's pretty fair in of itself. Then you've got Booker T, a six-time world champion. Not sure yet if he held the TNA belt. I haven't really looked into that. Stat Boy, got something for you to do.
Squeak.
Scott Steiner, former WCW champion. Kevin Nash, former WWF and WCW champion. Then you've got the two hoes at ringside. You've got Sharmell and Jenna Maraska, who no doubt Chyna would just eat those two for dinner.
Seriously.
But if you put the guys against the guys, you've got essentially Triple H and Shawn Michaels over here, and you've got Kevin Nash, Angle, Joe, and Booker over here. It's an unfair fight.
Yeah.
Last question comes from Team Ego, and he says, "Hey guys, who do you think are the top 5 WWE Champions of all time and the top 5 tag teams of all time.
I'll take tag teams, you take WWE.
Well, I've got my own opinion on both of them, so
Okay.
you go ahead and go first.
Alright.
I know Jeff Hardy's going to be in there for WWE Champions. I know the Hardy Boys are going to be in there for Tag Champions.
Okay, hold on.
So, go ahead.
Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, LOD, and probably the Hart Foundation. Yeah, the Hart Foundation. The original one. I'd probably go, those are my 5 tag teams of all time. The best WWE champions, Angle, Rock, Austin, Trips, and Undertaker. Those are probably my top 5.
Okay. I know you haven't been watching as long as I have, and you don't go back to the old school as much as I do. But I think the key phrase here was all time, and most of the people you listed are still fairly modern era. My top 5 tag teams of all time: the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, the Brainbusters, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the Legion of Doom, and the Rockers. Okay, with honorable mentions going to the Hardys and the New Age Outlaws.
Not even Dudley Boys, the 22 tag team championships.
Maybe an honorable mention there, but the LOD, I feel, are still superior to the Dudleys despite championship reigns, because they were innovative and they were pioneering back in the day. The Dudley Boys aspired to be like the LOD. As far as WWE Champions, it's going to pain me to say some of these because I really don't like some of these people, but they are great champions. Hulk Hogan. There would be no modern WWE if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan.
True.
End of story.
Yeah.
Okay? Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, The Rock, and Triple H. Those are my 5. With honorable mentions going to Austin, Cena, and Orton.
Okay, I like that.
Because Austin defined the Attitude Era. Cena is trying to pick up the ball that Austin left behind when he retired as far as attitude goes. And let's be honest, Randy Orton is by and far the greatest WWE wrestler they have right now. Hands down.
Agree with that.
He can take a bag of dog shit and make it look good in the ring.
He
That's
does.
why
He does.
that's why Vince allowed him to feud with the McMahons and punt every McMahon, because everybody in the locker room feels that Randy Orton is the safest worker in the company.
He has
End of story.
He has careers in Ted DiBiase. That's why. That's why he has, he's carrying those 2 piles.
Cody and DiBiase are not piles of shit. Granted, they haven't been allowed to bloom into their own as individuals yet, but give them time. Mark my words.
I think
they will be singles champions.
I think Cody will be a better champion than Ted.
I'm not saying world. I'm just saying they
I know.
will be singles.
Me too. Both of them will be singles. Cody will be most likely the IC or US, and Ted either or, but I think they'll give the belt to Cody first, like they did Randy, because I think Cody is the Randy of Evolution and Ted is the Batista.
Okay. That being said, that is it for the final episode of A Hardy Conversation for now.
For now.
Hopefully we'll be able to reunite SummerSlam weekend and film episode 10.
Because never say never in wrestling.
But be on the lookout for our spin-off shows. Not sure what they're being called yet. I think his is the Chris Hardy Show. Haven't come up with my title yet, but be on the lookout starting next week for the spin-offs. See you around.